Now, overall, departures have been outpacing hiring in Carter's dataset, which is a new trend because for the most of the past 4 years, companies were hiring more than the departures. I went into LinkedIn to do some specific research and see what I could find, and I found something interesting, which is that in the last 12 months from today, 1 million 1.6 million folks in tech have found new jobs in the past 12 months, and there are currently about 600,000 new jobs posted in tech, with NYC, New York, being the number one location, not San Fran. That was quite interesting. A few other data points: 43% of startup employees have less than 2 years of tenure. Startup hiring has tilted back towards engineering. In 2022, 24% of hiring was engineering. In 2023, it's 27%. And this is fascinating: an increased focus on individual contributor talent. In 2019, 50% of hiring at companies with less than $100 million valuations were ICs, and 46% at companies with above $100 million valuation. In 2023, it's 60% for both. So, Sam, this increased focus on engineering talent and IC talent, especially the IC talent, seems really interesting. You've spoken a lot about how we need more people with hands on keyboards. So, talk to us a little bit about how this trend makes you feel. And do you see this sustaining itself as the market picks up? There's more hiring, there's more growth. Does this sustain?
I don't. I think the focus on individual contributors is interesting for the reasons that we've discussed over the previous couple of weeks, which is that organizations are consolidating their C-suite and VP level headcount. I think people are saying, we don't need a chief business officer, a chief growth officer, a chief revenue officer, and a chief sales officer, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, therefore, it makes perfect sense to me that what people are really saying is, I can cut through middle management layers. Certainly that's what Zuck said at Meta. And I need more people doing actual work. And so the focus on individual contributors makes perfect sense to me. Does that mean that this trend will continue? I guess my sense is that I don't see it changing in the near term, maybe in the medium term. I think, we know that there's a lot of funding and a lot of company creation and a lot of value creation that's happening up and down the supply chain around AI. We don't yet know how those companies will go to market at scale. We know that OpenAI is hiring a large enterprise sales team and building out a big go-to-market organization. We know, or I know personally, that companies that sit behind those companies such as Invisible, which provides a lot of the training contractors that train the large language models for companies that are trying to build their own models. Invisible is doing absolutely amazing and crushing it. And I think well over 100 million in revenue. And they're technically a services business, but nevertheless, so they're going to need more sales people and a larger go-to-market organization. So I think that I just don't know if that's enough to overcome the reality that there's a lot of growth stage B2B SaaS software businesses that rather enjoy having high sales efficiency and rather enjoy having very high quota attainment with a small number of reps and are somewhat more jaded when it comes to being preached conventional wisdom about how many middle managers they need and how many additional support staff they need. I think everybody's got religion around revenue operations and thinks that's an area where you need to invest, and you need to invest in enablement to a certain degree. But I think most people are saying, you know what, I don't need an AE manager and a VP of sales and a CRO. What I need is a couple of people to close deals. So I don't see that changing this year.